Welcome to the Sunday service at CSLN. We are a welcoming and inclusive community of inspired individuals caring for and about each other and the entire planetary family. The Center for Spiritual Living Nashville offers spiritual tools for anyone seeking a more fulfilled and meaningful life through a deeper connection with a higher power or universal truths. Be sure to subscribe below if you enjoy our programs. Now let's join today's service.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. And welcome. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Nashville's Sunday service. Come on in, have a seat. Thank you. Sir Gregory Fisher will be speaking today. Part 2 of the 4 agreements. On behalf of the wonderful musicians in the CSLN band, our support staff, and members of the platform team, welcome and thanks for being here and watching at home. Our featured vocalist today is no stranger. She has helped us quite a bit during our COVID period. She's been writing and performing as long as she can remember, and we love her because she can cover so many different styles of music. Please welcome Talisha Holmes. Thank you, Talisha. Please welcome David Arnholter.
Whoa. Yeah, that's the way to start a service, isn't it? Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Nashville. Welcome to all the wonderful people that are here today, all the people that are home watching us. Thank you. My name is David Arnholter. I'm a board member and a practitioner here, and it is so good to have everybody. Just want to give you a few announcements of what's going on. We're very active. We are doing a ton of stuff, and we want you to join us and be part with us. So the first thing, tomorrow night, Monday night, we have our monthly board meeting. Please join us. It's going to be on Zoom, and this one's going to be specifically different because we're going to be meeting the board candidates that we're going to be voting on at the annual meeting. So the board candidates will be there tomorrow night. They're going to talk, tell you a little bit about themselves. Come, decide who you want to vote for, please. That's tomorrow night at 6:30 Zoom, and the link is on the website. This coming Wednesday, in that evening, it's the Soul Refresh service. Starts at 6:30 on Zoom with our own Reverend Lynn Bennett. Join Reverend Lynn and practitioners as we focus on personal goals and opportunities for the coming year. The topic this week is moving beyond drama and fantasy. Please join us and share your story. If you haven't come to the Wednesday service, it's amazing, okay? You will love it. Please check it out. This Wednesday, 6:30. Now, next Sunday, the youth and their caregivers are encouraged to celebrate with the Creative Youth team. A Zoom party will be done, and it's on Sunday, March the 21st at 1 p.m. Find the link in next week's newsletter on the website, cslnashville.org/youth-news. In 2 Sundays, we're doing our annual meeting, March the 28th. Mark your calendar. Please join us. It will happen right after the service. Stay online and participate and receive additional instructions. You'll be voting on 3 new board members, okay? And you'll be hearing about the finances, how we're doing, reports, all that good stuff. Now, this is exciting. We have a Science of Mind class, 102, with Dr. Mitch coming up. This starts on Thursdays, starting April the 8th, and it runs for 8 classes, so it's through May 27th, 6:30 p.m. Thursdays on Zoom or in person here at the center. So we're going to do both. Details are in our newsletter and on the website. Now, for those of you that are wondering what SOM 102 is about, it incorporates exercises that develop the student's understanding of how to pray effectively. We all need that. So participants practice by creating spiritual mind treatments for themselves and others. So please join Dr. Mitch and the class. I'll be there myself. So join us for these classes. Now, have you heard about our new Suggestions and Concerns team? Well, they had their first Zoom meeting last Tuesday, and we've already received a lot of emails and answers. There will be a new section in the newsletter starting this week with an official response to one of the questions that affects our community. Now, the asker will always remain anonymous, but we appreciate everyone's input to help our center grow and thrive. Don't forget about CSNL Rocks. Visit the homepage and click the special link for more information on this easy, socially distanced, and fun event. CSLN Rocks. The Giving Care Circle. The Giving Circle accepts gift cards, cash, and checks for those in need. If you need assistance, please let us know so that we can help you. There's a box at the center, or you can mail donations and requests to the office. And if you need a spiritual mind treatment, please find our practitioners on our website. Choose a practitioner by using the individual contact form and submit a request. We want a treat for you. Let us know what you need. We're there. So stay connected, and please give love to help our center thrive. Visit lovecsln.com. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. So those of you at home right now, please click on that thumbs up form, and thank you all for being here today. Have a great day. This is going to be an amazing service.
Thank you, David.
Well, I walked over the bridge into the city where I live, and I saw my old landlord. Well, we both said hello, there was nowhere else to go because his rent I could not afford. Well, relationships change, and I think it's kind of strange how money makes a man grow. Some people, they claim if you get a lot of fame, you live over the rainbow. Over the rainbow. People on the street, out on buses, on their feet, we all got the same blood flow. Oh, in society, every dollar got a deed. We all need a place where we can go. Over the rainbow. But sometimes we forget what we got, who we are, or who we are not. I think we got a chance to make it right. Keep it loose, child. Keep it tight. Keep it tight. I'm in love with a girl who's in love with the world, though I can't help but follow. Though I know someday she's bound to go away and stay over the rainbow. I gotta learn how to let her go. Over the rainbow. But sometimes we forget who we got, who they are, or who they are not. There's so much more to love than black or white. Keep it loose, child. Gotta keep it tight. Oh, keep it loose, child. Keep it tight, yeah. Keep it tight. Keep it tight, yeah. Keep it tight.
Welcome back. David Artholder.
I'm back. Let's all take a deep breath. Just really become very present as we listen to the words of Ernest Holmes from Science of Mind, page 146, the chapter called The Power of Thought. We have within us a power which is greater than anything we shall ever contact. A power that can overcome every obstacle in our experience and set us safe, satisfied, and at peace, healed, prosperous, in a new light, a new life. God's creative power of mind is right here, right now. We have as much of this power to use as we believe in and embody. The storehouse of nature is filled with infinite good, awaiting the touch of our awakened thought to spring forth into manifestation in our lives. The word that we speak is the law of our lives, and nothing hinders its operation but ourselves. Now, we may use this creative word for whatever purpose we desire, and this word, our word, becomes the law unto the thing for which it is spoken. Thoughts of sickness can make a person sick. Thoughts of health and perfection can heal. A realization of the presence of God is the most powerful healing agency known to the mind of man. Strife and struggle are unnecessary. Could we but grasp this greatest truth about life and realize that we are dealing with a principle, scientifically correct and eternally present, we can accomplish whatever it is possible for us to even conceive. Wow. Life externalizes at the level of our thought. And so it is.
So it is.
Yeah, powerful stuff. So, I'd next like to do a prayer treatment for us. So, know with me, as I say this treatment, make it personal for yourself. So I just know that the source of all is one mind, one spirit, one love. I am one with spirit. I am one with mind. I am one with love. Love is my true nature. Love is who I truly am. Anything else is egoic fear, and I release it completely. I know that the word I speak is the law of my life. Everything I think, everything I say, everything I do is governed by love. I align with God's creative power of mind, allowing a renewed sense of purpose to guide me. A creative spirit fills me. It motivates me. I am free of all doubt. I am free of all confusion, knowing that I am an expression of spirit, an expression of love. I go forward with confidence and a peaceful awareness of being guided by love. My life is a great adventure, and I enjoy my life more and more and more every day. I give thanks. I give thanks as I gratefully accept this truth about my life, knowing I am always, always, always centered in spirit, always centered in love. I give thanks for every expression of love present in our audience today. I give thanks for this presence of love for everyone at home today and for everyone making this service possible. I give thanks for this community. I give thanks for our Science of Mind teaching, the Board of Trustees, our spiritual leader, Reverend Lynn Bennett. I give thanks for me. And accepting love, only love, as my life experience, I release my word into the universal law of mind, knowing it has already made it so. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, David. All right, you got to forgive your music director. Every once in a while he gets a little gospel-y. But you got to imagine 150-piece choir behind the song. Leave it up to Talisha to do the whole thing.
Cry.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm so blessed. I feel so blessed to be here this morning. I'm a practitioner here as well. And Gregory, I would like to introduce Gregory this morning. I have known him since 1997. And actually, him and Diane Woody and Michael Woody were instrumental in doing the orals for me when I became a practitioner in 2011. So I will be forever grateful for him, for his leadership and always being there for us, the little babies. But anyways, Gregory Fisher became a licensed Science Mind practitioner in 2001 and an ordained minister through the Universal Brotherhood movement in 2009. He holds bachelor's degrees in both communication and divinity and a master's degree in social work. Wow. Most recently, he earned a degree in personal and professional coaching, and he is currently working towards a Doctor of Divinity degree. He has worked as an administrative director, counselor, coach, and substance abuse therapist, and currently maintains a private practice as a practitioner and coach while providing clinical consultation for the American Addiction Centers. Additionally, he is a singer. Wow. He's a songwriter, author, and speaker for more than 50 years across the country in churches of all faiths. Gregory's topic today for December? I'm sorry. We're in the month of March. Is the 4 agreements. I think we're doing the second agreement today from Don Miguel Louise. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Carl. Look, there's a bunch of you out there today. It's lovely to have people here. It's lovely to see people, isn't it? Okay, Talisha, amazing, as always. Made me cry. I'm a crybaby, you all know that. Band, always your talents amaze and bless me. Technicians, your skills are such a blessing to us all, and platform folks, David and Carl, our relationships are, of course, meaningful, and your participation is always appreciated. So as Carl said, today we're going to talk about living the 4 agreements. And today we're talking about the second agreement, which I'm titling this talk, Surrendering My Personal Wounds. What? Surrendering my personal wounds. So, what we're doing in this series, last week and then today and then the next 2 weeks, seeking to take the 1997 classic, the 4 agreements, and learning to breathe into it, the Toltec wisdom, into our journey, the way that we, in a way that can not only transform our interactions with people around us, but also to become the very nature of how we view ourselves and our lives, therefore allowing us to transform how we interact with other people. Now, as I said last week, I'm probably going to keep saying a bit, we've all read this book. Most of us read it decades ago. And then we go, oh, those 4 agreements, yeah, I know that, those 4 agreements. I can rattle them off. Usually I can rattle off 3. There's always one I forget, and it's always a different one every time. But I can rattle those 4 agreements off. Boom, 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 boom. But here's what usually happens, I find. We read it in 1997, and after we got through with this and said, yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do those 4 agreements. I'm going to be impeccable with my word. I'm not going to take anything personal. I'm not going to make any assumptions. I'm always going to do my best. And then someone handed us Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. Okay, wait. Now I'm going to live in the present moment. I'm going to live in the now. Then someone handed us Marianne Williamson, Return to Love. And we said, oh, okay, wait. Now I know what I got to do is return to love. Right? How many of you out there would admit to having been junkies of New Thought books? Read them all. Good. Pick one. Pick one. Any one of those will lead you to a greater understanding of yourself and your world and how to interact in it. Pick one. But we become such junkies to it that we know more than we do. There's a guy that was back in the, I'm going to say 70s, a guy named Juan Carlos Ortiz, another Latinx writer who is from Argentina. Don Miguel Ruiz, of course, is from Mexico. But he had a book on discipleship that was very popular among evangelical Christians back in those days. And he had a huge church in Argentina that he pastored. And he said he would get up and give the same sermon week after week for months until he felt like his congregation had incorporated those words into his life, their lives individually. So he would just keep preaching the same sermon over and over because he said, I'm not going to tell you more until you're doing what I told you last time. So we'll just keep talking about it and we'll just keep practicing on it until we incorporate it. So somehow I kind of feel like this one especially, if you haven't already bought this tiny little 140-page book and read it, and every morning gotten up and said, I'm going to make a commitment to doing these things. I'm going to make a commitment to doing these things. They're so practical. The book is so easily understood. I really, can I say it any more emphatically? Buy this book, read this book, do this book. Okay? So last week, we talked about being impeccable with your word, and I asked you to make a commitment to some things. And I'm not going to ask for a show of hands because I promise I won't be one of those guys that asks for a lot of this. But I asked you to do some things. I kind of want to ask you to check in on that. I'm going to go over a little bit of a recap of last week. Okay. So the book starts with giving us a bit of a cosmology of the spiritual experience from the Toltec point of view. We have in this experience both the divine and our human understanding. In this life, we have the divine and the human. We are spirit having a human experience. That's the problem. That's the tension. If we were always just being divine, then we would be lovely angelic creatures. But instead, we're humans trying to remember what it was like to be divine. Does that all make sense? It's in this experience that we find ourselves living with the struggle between the higher way of acting, feeling, thinking, and believing, and something that is, less perfect. It is this tension. That causes our suffering. Right? Anyone suffer ever? I don't need to see hands, but just asking. Last week I talked about being impeccable with your word. Ruiz says that this agreement, the first agreement to be impeccable with your word, is the most important because all the others proceed from our impeccable word. He talks about that the word is more than just our actual words, the things we say, but it's what we think. It's what we feel. It's what we believe. It's what we do. Our word. It is creative. We know that what we think, the words we think, create our experience. That is one of the basic tenets of what we believe here at Religious Science Center for Spiritual Living Nashville, but our philosophy of science of mind and religious science. It's not just the words we say, it's the words we think, feel, and believe. It's imperative that we know that. And we know that the Bible says, as we think, so are we. So this wasn't a new thought. This is an old thought. It's just now we need to really apply this to our lives. This understanding is the principle behind many of the spiritual laws, most particularly the law of cause and effect. I'm not going to go into that a lot. I did some last week, but the law of cause and effect. If you don't know what that is, Google it. Okay. The word impeccable is from the Latin, and it means without sin. Living without sin. A sin is anything we do, think, or feel that goes against ourselves. That's all it is. Don't get all uptight at the word sin. It doesn't help. It's merely saying we made an error. Our word is our life. Our word is our life. How we use our words defines our life, and particularly in regard to our relationship with others. Our word needs to come from the highest source. And what is that highest source? One word: love. Our words need to come from love. Love begins with loving ourselves. Speaking lovingly to myself creates the life I want and allows me to interact lovingly with those around me. The words I say about others affects their lives. Gossip is poison. It's the lowest form of communication. It poisons not only the life of the speaker, but also the life of the hearer. The things I say to you about others, or about them, or about other conditions will have an effect on them. It's impossible for it not to, unless they're prepared, and we're going to talk about that today. I asked you last week to make a commitment to being impeccable with your word. How did that go? Did the commitment stay with you? Did you think about it? Did it change any of your behavior? Did you catch yourself in the middle of a really juicy conversation? Really, we're doing some good talking about somebody else and go, wait, I said I wouldn't do this week. Did you catch yourself there? Because I'm going to be honest and say, I did. I was in a conversation, and about halfway through it, I went, I made a commitment to something else. Good for me that I thought of it. And then I was like, now how do I turn this conversation around? It was an interesting exercise. Trying not to offend somebody. You don't want to say, hey, wait a minute, we're gossiping and I don't do that anymore, right? Of course you don't. You're the one that started the conversation. Did you forgive yourself easily? Once you caught yourself not keeping the commitment, did you forgive yourself easily? Did you move on? Try again. Today we're talking about the second agreement. Don't take anything personally. Ruiz says that when someone does something against us and we take it personally, it means that something within us believes that what was said or done was true. That's startling. That something in me agrees. If someone offends me, something in me agrees. I want you to really take that in. Really take that in. Rightfully, we need to remember that nothing said or done to me is about me at all. It's about the other person. It's about the other person. It's about the speaker. As a therapist, we use this word projection. They're projecting themselves and their feelings about themselves and their opinions about themselves on you. When we're talking about, even if you're talking about somebody else, the person speaking is almost always projecting their own concerns and opinions about themselves onto someone else. It's about their life. It's about what's in their mind. It's about their perception. And here is where this word comes up. It's about their woundedness. See, here's what we know. This experience of being human. You know how we got to be different from the higher, the divine, to something less than that is our experience has wounded us. And our woundedness has made us afraid. I don't want to be wounded again. I don't want to feel that again. I don't want that place in me to be touched again. And so rather than coming from love, we come from love's opposite, which is fear. Life for most of us gives us opportunities for suffering and wounds. Something happens, we get hurt. The hurt grows into an open wound. We make agreements with ourselves about the wound. We agree that it is true. We agree that it is who we are. Then every opportunity to pile something onto that wound and to reinforce it and to make it realer and to make it truer. So then we look for opportunities for that wound to be touched. You know, it's Tennessee Williams, there's in one of his plays, there's a character that it's Maggie the cat in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and she's goading her husband, goading, and she finally looks up and she goes, "I never could quit picking at a sore." Wow. Think about that, the power of that. I never could quit picking at a sore. My sore, your sore. This is about our woundedness, our joined woundedness. Misery loves company. I'll find people whose wounds match my wounds. We throw it out there to the world and dare people to touch it. Then we take it personally when they do. And we blame them. And then we come against them. How dare you touch my wounds so I can say it's about you? It doesn't matter how personal you say it or how personal it may seem, it's really about them. Ever watch Pee Wee Herman? I know you are, but what am I? Remember? Someone would say something to Pee Wee and he'd say, I know you are, but what am I? Well, here's what's interesting. It's funny, and it's the best question. In any situation where you feel the wound, you might want to say, I know you are, but what am I? Now, you might also want to say, and I forgive you, and I forgive me. For my wound, for your wound. Doesn't matter how personally it may seem to you, it really is about them. Oh, I already said that. If we are living in fear, we are wounded or offended because we are afraid it must be true. Our deepest human experiences, we are afraid that the wounds are our true self. Ruiz talks about that in those moments, we're actually living the dream, and it becomes like a movie. In our heads, we see ourselves and we see the other characters, and we're the director, we're the writer. The whole movie that's going on in our head, we're creating. Now, in the last couple of years, I've been studying with a teacher out of Oklahoma City, a guy named Robert Smith. And I've been learning a technique for healing wounds called Faster EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. And Robert, he was talking about this very thing of the movie, the dream that we're in. And he says, you get it that in that movie in your head, everything in you is you. Everything in you is you. So in those moments, not only are you the one writing the movie, directing the movie, and playing yourself, you're all the other characters too. See, when you replay a memory from your childhood, one of those wounding incidences, and you're remembering it, and how many times have you done it that it's like it's a screen in your head, and like your dad's here and your mom's here and you're here and you're watching it all, and you remember who said what and blah, 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 blah. You know what? It's not how it happened. You know how you know? Because you couldn't see you when it was happening. Oh my, think about that. That'll startle you, right? You didn't see you. You weren't able to come out of that experience and say, there's mom, there's dad, there's me. So already you know, I'm creating this movie in my head. And I think I know what they said, but more, I think I know why they did. I know why he said that. I know why she did that. Guess what? No, you didn't, and no, you don't. But here's the truth. Everything inside you is you. It's your perception. Here's what I think happened, here's what I think they said, and here's why I think they did. But all of that is, the important thing about every one of those statements is I. It's me. It's me being me. It's them being me. You see? So at that point, you have to go. It's all a dream. It's all an illusion. None of it's true. I can be offended for the rest of my life. I can want to punish them by being offended for the rest of my life. It affects them not at all. It just keeps me wounded. It just keeps me broken. It just keeps me suffering. Oh. Yes, but that's you too. The question was for you at home, what about the happy thoughts? Yes. And they don't cause suffering, but we are going to come back here in a bit and talk a little bit more about that. But when someone sends their negative or poisonous thoughts to us, and we are living in fear that our worst thoughts are true, we take it personally, we become offended, and then we become defensive. Our defensiveness then causes conflict, and conflict spirals out of control. It causes us to take actions that are against ourselves and the life we want, and we say things like, I'll never speak to him again. I'll never go there again. I'll find a way to get revenge. Do you see how it becomes poison for us to hold on to these wounds, to these offenses? Then we talk about it, and we get allies. And they agree with us. And they keep telling us we're right to be offended. And then it's on. Or there can be a better response. When I was 14, that was a while back, I started on this journey of being a speaker and a singer in churches. I spoke and sang in every little church in Missouri, and there were a lot of them, you know, tiny congregations and what have you. But I had a group of guys that we worked together, did that. We had a singing group, and we went around and we did all this stuff. And our sponsor, our adult sponsor, was a guy named Ron. And Ron was crucially important to me in those years and for many years to go. And one of the ways that the four of us guys and Ron and then a couple of the gals too were able to travel and be together for so much time was that Ron taught us early on, if you're offended, it's your own fault. Now, that's pretty blunt, especially for a 14-year-old. If you're offended, it's your own fault. And of course, being me, I had to challenge that often at first. Well, no, what he did was wrong. What he said was wrong. What he did to me was wrong. If you're offended, it's your own fault. It took me a while to realize people can do bad things. People can say bad things. I have no control over what people do or say. I do have control over my response. If I'm not living in fear, it's much easier to respond immediately with, it's not about me. It's not who I am. And I can be forgiving. And I can be loving. And I can just let it roll off. Taking nothing personally. Because I've surrendered my personal woundedness. Does that make sense? Does it add up? Love, of course, is the response. It starts by loving ourselves, just like we said last week about the ability to be impeccable with our love. Our word begins with loving myself. I can't show up in this world with impeccable word, thoughts, actions, feelings, and beliefs without first loving myself. And I can't show up in this world to take nothing personal or personally without first loving myself. Me loving me, feeling good about me and my life, and being happy. And when I wrote that this morning, I thought, and being happy is the best revenge. You know, I mean, if you go, wow, dude, I know you meant that offensively, but watch this. I'm just going to be happy. I'm just going to be loving. How annoying is that? If that's the best you can do, then do that, right? There came a point in my life where I knew I could keep nurturing my wounds and using them like a weapon, or I could commit to healing. And that took surrender. And it took loving myself and loving those people that I felt had wounded me. Love told me that it was never true to begin with. Surrendering to healing is and having the wounds heal is not automatic. But love means forgiving instead of taking it personally. It means extending grace. It means in that moment, take a deep breath. You know, I'm convinced we don't breathe enough in conversation. It's possible that I talk too much. And it's possible that I talk fast, and sometimes people don't get a word in edgewise because I've not left them any room. I'm making a commitment to be more impeccable with my words, and I'm working on all of that. But I'm caught as I'm studying this book, I'm caught with the notion that I just need to breathe more. That in a conversation, I just need to breathe and pause, and consider so that I can be more impeccable with my word. And then I can ask this question. What would love do now? You know, we've heard in the evangelical Christian world, they say, what would Jesus do now? Well, honestly, I don't know. But I can ask, what would love do now? And why can I ask that? Because love is who I am. at my highest and best. What would love do now? In this situation, what would love do now? So, I'm going to wrap this up, but it may take me a second. So, I told you last week that I've gotten to the place where any talk, really, all I'm doing is telling my own story. There's a man who, he and I helped him when I was at a job in the past. I helped him to start his own business. We became very close friends. Ultimately, when I was at a place where I needed to make a change in my life and a move in my life, he gave me a pretty fair amount of money to make a down payment on the condo that I now live in. I paid him back. But it was something he didn't have to do. So we've lived as neighbors and friends for the last 8 years. I became president of the board of directors for my homeowners association. He started having some damage to his condominium that he felt like the board should have paid for, blah, 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 blah. He ended up suing me this last year. He lives, literally, you guys, I look out the window of my condo into his condo. I drive into the parking garage and I'm looking into his condo. I look down in the courtyard and he's walking his dog, who I love. I have taken it personally. And last night, I'm working on this talk, and I look out my window, and there he stands. I'm going, oh. See, I can talk about this all day to you. I can read the book, I can recite it, I can go on and on and on, but I am taking this personally. So I can't. Now, I'm going to have to figure out today, when I leave here, what am I going to do? What am I going to do about that? I don't know yet. I'll let you know next week. Heidi, is it okay if I talk about you and me? Because I'm getting ready to talk about here and the fact that in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of things happening and a lot of people taking it personally. Heidi and I had never met, though we had both attended here for a long time, until there was a meeting, and it was a heated meeting, and Heidi and I had a moment that was imperfect in just about every way. And I left that meeting with an opinion about Heidi. So as the universe would have it, I'm on the board still. The struggle continues, and then Heidi comes on the board. And I'm going, okay, I'm going to have to surrender here to something, and I'm not sure what it is. Then Heidi and I start interacting, and guess what I find out? She's delightful in every way. And I just love her. But that was a journey we had to make, and I had to remember that that conversation we had that was so awful was not something I could take personally. It was two people trying to communicate, and it was hard. And so then when we said, how about we be impeccable with our word? We were in a meeting, one of the first board meetings we had, and we just went up to each other. I think it kind of was automatic, Heidi. We kind of went up to each other and said, okay, about that, let me tell you what was going on with me, what wound was being touched in me. Let me ask your forgiveness. Let me forgive you. Oh, look. Well, you're delightful. You're wonderful. I love you. Wow. If there are wounds that you are still harboring against people here in this congregation, this community, or in any place in your world, I'm going to ask you to sit down. People that are my clients know I do this a lot. Make a list. Literally write it down. Here's the person. Here's what happened. Here's what has happened to me, how it has impacted me. And then consciously ask first to forgive yourself, to love yourself, because see, that's where it has to start. I forgive me for the part I played in this. I love me and know that it is my highest and best good to extend grace and love and forgiveness to this other person. And then let it go with no expectation that they will ever know, that they will ever do anything different, that they will ever forgive you, because again, who's it about? Not them. It's about you. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and hoping the other person will die. Right? It's you that's getting poisoned. Let it go. Let it go. Now, I'm going to briefly, and I'm running out of time again. I talk too much. Not only, so this is about your, not only do we not take it personally, the bad things, we have to remember too to not take it personally, the good things. Because that's about them too. You know, it's funny. You know, Carl gets up here and reads my bio. Every time I hear my bio, it gets longer and longer in my head. I'm just like, And this last year, I had a situation where, I think like most of you, I had a lot of loss in 2020, right? I had a business that failed, that I really felt had been my destiny, and then it failed. Several other things. And it was in a moment where all that was going on, I was dealing with such disappointment and such heartache over it. And I then was speaking somewhere, and they read my bio, and I stood up and said, I don't know who that guy is. All those labels, I'm not sure, apply. Now, right after that, this was, 6, 7 months ago. I'm going to start naming some names here. I had set up a meeting with Reverend Claudia. See, when Claudia was here, she was not just my pastor or on a board member, a fellow board member. She was my very close friend. And when everything that happened, she felt betrayed by me. I felt betrayed by her. I was taking it very personally. So we had set up a meeting to get together. And we talked for 4 hours. And it was very healing for me. And here was the great part about it. So as we're talking, I'm sharing with her this thing about all these labels. I'm a speaker, I'm a singer, I'm a writer, I'm a this, I'm a that. I have this degree, I have that degree. And I said, I'm at a place right now where all of that feels like BS. And she said to me, what label still applies? Who do you still want to be? I said, I want to be a good friend and a good husband. She said, oh, you want to be love. Yes, I want to be love. And she said, and then when you show up as love and you sing, then you're just love singing. When you show up as love speaking, then you're just love speaking. So it's all love, and then these are gifts and talents and things. That's all good, right? You know, they have to read a bio, but it's about, you know, what I'd love most is to say, here's Gregory Fisher. He's going to show up as love, if you're lucky. He's going to show up as love today. We don't know what that's going to look like or what he's going to do. So I tell you that story about Claudia just because I needed to remember that I can't take any of what happened here last year personally. I got to get past it. No one likes it when we say to them, you know what, you just need to get over it. But the truth is, love says, just love. Just love. And then you'll get over it. And so it is. Thank you. Yeah. Am I back on? Okay, so now's the time that we get to give back to that which has blessed and nourished us. And so, if you will take your gift in your hand, either mentally or physically, and repeat with me, what am I saying? Divine love. There it is. Thank you.
Don't ask me.
I know what it is, but divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love, and I am blessed in abundance, and so it is. And I do a closing treatment. I'm so glad to just get to touch you. What if I knew today that there was only love? What if I believed it with every fiber of my being? What if I knew that all I am is love, that I am now and forever connected to it, and anything that looks different than love in my life is a misunderstanding, innocent misunderstanding. I can release it. I can let it go. I can forgive myself for ever having believed that there could be something else, and I can forgive anyone who has ever encouraged me to believe something else. Then I could come back to this one thought, this one truth. I am love. Love is me. Every interaction, every encounter, every relationship, every job, every opportunity. What would love do now? What would love do now? What would love do now? Thank you, love. Thank you, my love. Thank you, my darling. I love you. And so it is.
Thanks, Gregory. Awesome. I got it. 2, 3.
cannot be replaced. If you only knew what the future holds. After a hurricane comes a rainbow. Maybe the reason why all the doors are closed, so you could open one that leads you to the perfect road. Like a lightning bolt, your heart will glow. And when it's time, you just gotta ignite the lights and let it shine. Just on the night, like the 4th of July. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, show 'em what you're worth. Make 'em go, as you shoot across the sky. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, show 'em what you're worth. Make 'em go, as you shoot across the sky, sky, sky. Even brighter than the moon. It's always been inside of you, you, you. Now it's time to let it through. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, show the colors work. Make 'em go, as you shoot across the sky. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst. Make 'em go, leave 'em going, boom, boom, boom. Even brighter than the room, room, room. Brighter than the room, room, room.
This program is a service of the Center for Spiritual Living Nashville. May your life be filled with joy and prosperity in every way. Learn more about our programs or contact one of our practitioners at our website, cslnashville.org. You may also want to follow us on Facebook at CSLNASH. You can make a big difference with your financial gift at lovecsln.com. Please share the link to this program with a friend and join us again next Sunday. Have a wonderful week.